So in this video, I'm gonna talk about emerging role of company secretaries in NBFC or financial related sectors. So coming on to when I joined an NBFC as a company secretary or a fresher company secretary, I was in compliance department. So there were multiple departments for company secretaries, one of which is secretarial unit. The other one is compliance unit, wherein the compliance related stuff is dealt. Now coming on to that, so what does a compliance function basically do? तो पहली चीज़ इसमें आती है जो भी RBI रिलेटेड रेगुलेशंस होते हैं जो RBI एज एंड व्हेन निकालते रहते हैं उसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. फॉर एग्जांपल RBI ने किसी सर्कुलर में कहा है ग्रीवेंस रिड्रेसल मैकेनिज्म होना चाहिए in every NBFCs, that is required to be ensured by company secretaries or the compliance professional that the NBFC in which they are in the compliance unit, that particular NBFC has a grievance redressal mechanism. So such and many other RBI related or regulatory related regulations which have certain actionables need to be undertaken by NBFCs. Other than that, I also got to learn about RBI audit, which we can also say as RBI testing. So there is particular circular of RBI, that is compliance officer and compliance function. So it is available on RBI's portal, you can search it. Therein particularly it has been said that NBFCs should have a compliance function and a chief compliance officer. Now chief compliance officer and compliance function will undertake compliance testing. Now meaning thereby all the RBI regulations, जितने भी RBI अपने regulations बताता है उसमें क्या actionables हैं वो कंपनी कर रही है in letter and spirit या नहीं कर रही है, that. And honestly that was a very major concern for many NBFCs, and typically it is for middle layer and upper layer NBFCs, and a large chunk of NBFCs falls under any of these. Other than this, RBI related returns, policy making and their implementation, RBI inspection as and when, RBI inspection observations, unka compliance, the loan documentation. For example, an NBFC is giving loans to the customers, so all the loan kit related documents, for example loan application form, sanction letters, KFS, key fact statement, all these are to be approved by a compliance function, and we need to monitor that all the regulatory related norms are duly taken care of. Coming on to RBI related committees. Now, other than the board committee or audit committee or NRC, for example, there are multiple committees that are required to be maintained by an NBFC, which typically includes asset liability committee or risk management committee or IT strategy committee, IT steering committee, information security committee, customer grievance committee, and committees on frauds identification and their review committee. So a large number of committees comes from RBI regulations, and these have to be ensured, and every proceedings, how they have to be held and what all matters are to be taken, what are to be discussed, RBI related regulations that have to be discussed in the meetings, that is ensured by compliance professionals. And I do believe that company secretaries have a very larger role to play in such committees. Now coming on to the financial transaction related stuff. So since you all must be aware that NBFC is a unit which is mostly exposed to financial crimes. So for in order to deal or in order to cope up with that, many NBFCs have to appoint a dedicated unit for financial crime investigations, and this also includes KYC and anti-money laundering related laws and provisions, and even company secretaries have a good dominance in such sectors because we have studied all that laws, and it is very much required for company secretaries to join such functions and other than secretarial related stuff. Other than this, RBI usually as and when or on ad hoc basis asks for returns or information from NBFCs, which I think a company secretary particularly a chief compliance officer or someone from a compliance unit can deal it in a very better function. And I do believe that a company secretary's role is not just limited to secretarial related stuff or ROC filings or even the SEBI regulations for that matter. I do believe that company secretaries have a very large and very good kind of exposure or very good growth aspect in such compliance unit, which is although explored by many people, but this is something I don't think many people are talking about. Other than this, company secretaries in the compliance functions also have to ensure and maintain the regulatory software that is required to be implemented by all the NBFCs. Again, this is a regulation related software, and the implementation, its monitoring, and it is an ongoing activity. And again, this is primarily looked by a compliance function, and compliance related stuff के लिए company secretaries are experts.